Hi, and welcome to What's the Buzz, the only show of its kind that spotlights the entertainment scene in Southern Maryland. I'm your host, James LaPlata, and this is episode number 249. And I am in court. No, not real court, don't worry, but an amazing recreation of court on the stage of Port Tobacco Theater. Charles Street, LaPlata, you'll be hearing more about that later, where the Port Tobacco Players are about to present their latest production, 12 Angry Jurors. Now, this was written, bit of history, written by Reginald Rose. It was a 1954 teleplay for CBS. It was a 1957 box office movie. 1997 made-for-TV movie, and it's still number 5 movie on IMDb, which is saying quite a bit. Having been written over 50 years ago, and it's a testament to how powerful the story is and how it transcends time. When you say, Mike, I am joined here with most, if not all, of the jurors, the producer, Heather Bauer, and the director, Mike Gahan. So why don't we go around the table and please introduce yourself and what character you play. Can you start with you?
My name is Nathan Dateweiler. I play the guard.
Kim Bessler, juror number 8.
Dan Brennan, juror number 9.
Tom Charnock, juror number 10.
Oh!
Leave it there.
David had a candle, Daddy.
I'm Katie Ludy, juror number 2.
I'm Jake Jaffe. I'm juror number 12.
I'm Emma Ansel. I'm juror number 1.
Kayla Elsesser, juror number 4.
David Timmerman, juror number 3.
Marie Vasquez Lopez, juror number 11.
Michael Burley Jr., juror number 5.
Carol Charnock, juror number 6.
David Ludy, juror number 7.
And how long did it take you all to remember your juror number?
Oh, they made us wear these things around our necks with their number on it for weeks. Really, we walked around.
Well, of course, the number, the juror number is very important too, because I mean it's 12 very distinct, different characters, so you got to keep a track of them. Now, Mike, let me ask you: can you give us a brief synopsis of the show?
Synopsis is a young man has been accused of murdering his father, and the jurors are told by the judge that they need a unanimous decision, and they're deciding on his life. If they plead guilty, if they conclude guilty, he goes to the chair. If they conclude innocent or not guilty, then he will be set free. So it has to be unanimous, and the first vote is 11-1. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, we won't say guilty or not guilty. Don't want to give away the plot. Heather, how was the show chosen? Did you and Mike put in to do 12 Angry Jurors, or did they come to you?
Well, Mike was lucky enough to be chosen to direct the show, and I know he's wanted to for years. And then I was lucky enough to be asked later on after they got started and get rolling, and someone who had to step out of the system.
Ah, very good. Mike, we'll be honest, we watched all the movies this weekend. We watched all kinds of YouTube analysis videos. But in the beginning, when I first started to get it, I was wondering, wait, there's 12 angry men, but they're doing 12 angry jurors, and it took a few minutes to figure out why. Can you explain how it has changed?
There's 2 things I wanted to do. One is I wanted to be as true to the original story, the 1954 and the 1957 as possible. That's why it's set in the 50s. But I also wanted to recognize our current time period of diversity and have as much of a diverse set of people on the stage.
That was a good answer. Everybody quote Mike during the week, just say that brilliant thing. How did you, aside from the picture of Eisenhower, how did you maintain a feeling of the 1950s for your cast when they were on stage?
I grew up in the 50s. See that pipe there?
Yep.
I insisted on that pipe, and everybody wondered why. Well, I grew up in a house that had a radiator with a pipe in it in the 50s. example. And this flag is true to 1957.
Now, before I finish with you and Heather, tell me about this amazing set. There's got to be some sort of story behind this.
Mike's vision.
Yeah, the person who is not visible here, who spoke as our judge, is a prosecuting attorney. And I've had the opportunity to serve on 5 juries. So I've been in jury rooms, and then I asked her to give me a tour of the local jury rooms. And that pretty much reinforced the vision that I already had. I really wanted paneling on the bottom and ugly government walls above, that type of thing.
So we can get rid of the theory that in the 50s you spent a lot of time as a kid in court. Okay, good. Now that we got that cleared up. Now, as far as the jurors, I've got a lot of questions for you. So whoever wants to answer, or you can all answer at the same time, or take turns. Just, it's a big free-for-all here at What's the Buzz. So, first of all, in your opinion, why are the jurors just given numbers as opposed to individual names? Any ideas?
Because each one is every name in a way. They're a set of, that's because of their backgrounds, where they came from, and where they grew up, and where they work, and what their financial status is. All those things make each one an individual. And it doesn't matter what their name is.
And I think too that if you start assigning names to people, names in and of themselves give you a free impression of a character. And so this way, each juror can develop their own personality, their own idea, and whatnot, and you're not bound by any preconception of what the jurors should be.
Who found? Oh, I'm sorry, Tom.
And just like Juror 11 says in the middle of the show, we're brought here to judge on somebody we've never met. Well, at the same time, we've never met each other. We have no names, we have no connection to each other, so names are really irrelevant.
I guess maybe there should be that anonymity when you're in a room alone with 12 people, right?
Well, and we all wanted to name ourselves Estella.
Inside joke.
So whose roles were especially tough to play? Now I'm looking over at Dave because you do get a little worked up during the course of the play, or is that coming easy for you, Dave?
He didn't know he was supposed to be acting.
Oh, gotcha. That was the real Dave Timmerman that we saw there, right? Kim, now playing juror number 8 and being the one to courageously stand up and oppose 11 other people, 11 of your peers. I mean, as a character, how much courage does that take? I mean, it's very easy just to be quiet and just go with the flow.
Well, I had a backstory, and my backstory gave me the courage to try and stand up for this young man and save his life, because I had lost my son at the age of 19. And so it was like this boy was representing to me like another kind of everyman. This is a young man who I'm going to fight for him because I can.
But little do we know the subtext of these stories when we go to see a show. Everybody, would you say that it's safe to say that a jury room or any situation like this, people have a tendency to walk in with their own prejudices and biases, and then of course that clouds every way they think. Would you say that's true? Mike, back to you. Quick question. Now, this script sort of kind of defies all the basic screenwriting rules of show, don't tell, don't introduce too many characters, don't write a play that is nothing but 100% dialogue. Having broken all those rules in this show, why do you think it has lasted as long as it did, or why is it as effective as it is?
I think it's lasted and it is effective because it is really real. I mentioned I've been in juries 5 times. Many of these people may have been in juries themselves. You've seen many, many courtroom stories, and there's a lot of drama in a jury room. And so one of the things I really like about it is the fact that this is the only person who walks on or off stage during the entire show. Everyone stays there. They're forced to work together. to figure out a way. And I think it's true to this American concept that we have of 12-person group.
And I know what it's like to be standing on the other side of that door, listening like, okay, looks like we're going to go on in about 10 seconds. Let me ask you all your opinion of the audience. Do you think the audience, and again, we're not saying what the final verdict is, that would kind of spoil the surprise. Do you think the audience is going to be sold on guilty or not guilty the way the jurors are?
I think so. I think some pretty good arguments are made on both sides, but I think ultimately it comes down to some basic facts that come out to make it impossible to not have a small reasonable doubt. As I think juror number 10 says, he may always wonder about whether or not they were guilty, but the evidence that we're presented with kind of, I think I've said too much.
Makes us.
No. That was right. Yes, sir.
I think one of the things that's pretty incredible about the play, I mean, it was back in the 50s, we're in 2021, and yet it's still very relevant. I mean, how many times do we sit at home now that we have social media, TV, and everything's out there that people are actually having to be proven innocent or guilty? So they walk in and they're biased already. Even to this day, that still happens. So, and that's pretty astounding.
It's probably why the play stands the test of time, because it's relatable throughout the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s and so on. Just to give a voice to everybody sitting at the table, feel free to shout out to loved ones or make a plea for who should come and see it or why they're going to love it. So feel free. I should have assigned numbers. Juror number 3, answer my question.
Well, you're going to love it because we have real live actors up here on the stage.
That's right.
And we're here and we're going to give it 100%, and it's for you out there. And it's been so long since any of us have been able to
First
either
time
do
in
it
18 months.
or be in the audience.
Yeah, first.
Everyone should come see it. We're not restricted, everyone should come see it.
And I think you're going to love it because this group of 12 people, 13 counting the guard, have been together now for several months. And
And they still don't know each other.
well past our juror numbers. I think we've come to, I now believe these people are the jurors they say they are. I don't want to meet them outside of the jury room, but in the jury room I know who they are. It's been great.
And you know, one of the great things about this, whenever we were casting the show, choosing who that we just saw several brand new people. We had 5 new people to be competed. It's amazing.
Right.
But just seeing them in rehearsal and then picking their juror number, hoping that they could deliver on what we were giving them. And then walking away this week, Mike and I could not be more proud of this week.
Oh, you have every reason to. Let me ask you, actually, during auditions, Mike, as people were reading, were you standing there in your head saying, oh yeah, it's just like juror number 7, and kind of matching up actors with their roles, or did you decide on your 13 people and then assign them characters? Just tricks of the trade.
My thought during the entire audition process, before we sat down to decide, was determining whether or not they could take direction. Because they were going to have to. You're going to have to listen to me and then do what I'm asking, and then also give me feedback so we can make adjustments. That was really in my mind until the last audition, and we decided we think we can make a decision tonight, and we have 25, 28 people to try out for this. I mean, we're all passionate, and so then, and it took us quite a while to figure out because we had a number of players here who could play different roles. And I couldn't be happier with the way it ended up. It's just great.
Oh, normally Heather and I don't get to see the show first and then do this show. Usually it's the other way around. And a lot of my questions have to be a little theoretical or a little innocent because I don't really know all the ins and outs. We're very proud to say that we just watched a run of this, and it is genuinely amazing. And suffice to say, everybody's been dying without theater for 18 months. This is your chance to get back in, put on a mask, sit with your friends, and watch a fantastic show that has stood the test of time. I want to thank, not only for the performance tonight, but I want to thank everybody for staying, being part of this interview. We will be back with a lot more What's the Buzz episodes coming boom, 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 one after another. Next, we will be at New Directions Theater for their production of, always sticks on me. Effect of Gamma Rays on Man in the Moon Marigolds. And that runs from October 1st to the 9th, New Directions, ndctheater.org. Followed by Frankenstein, which will be up at Twin Beach Players, twinbeachplayers.org. That's October 15th to the 31st. And I'm very proud to say that we'll have an exclusive one-on-one interview with Chelsea Gray, who has the number 5 country song on iTunes right now. And we will sit down with her and maybe even get her to sing a little bit. So we'll see that. But we've got some really exciting stuff coming up. I want to thank you all again for being here. I want to thank my producer and wife, Heather Lepore. I want to thank our creative consultant, Reggie Rice. And I'd like to thank our sponsor, Purple Post Real Estate. That's a real estate company I work for. If anybody'd like to work with me, feel free to hit up the page or you work with my broker, Steve. Once again, thank you and take care.